And we're back. Homie didn't put the music anymore, so we can film. There you go. Enjoy. Dom Link is your boy. Welcome to Welcome to our show. Sending you all to having a wonderful day on this 30th April 2025. Today we're doing a special video. We're doing the second ever gaming mukbang, gaming channel mukbang. Now, this is a very specific video. This is a very special video. We're doing this out of laziness. We're going a bit to depression. We just woke up, so it's not that bad yet. It hasn't reached the climax of the day yet. I have a bit more energy. So what we're doing is we're doing a video that I'm going to be able to put on both channel, which is the normal channel, and the gaming channel, which is a mukbang. So this is a story of Last of Us, right? Right? But now you're gonna tell me why Last of Us, dude? This is a gaming channel only. Not really. See, Last of Us was never about gaming. It was always more about that. Just read the back of the game cases, which we never did. Joel and Ellie, brought together by Arsham consensus, must survive a brutal journey across the U.S. in a dangerous post-pandemic world. Explore brutal post-pandemic, fully realize the power of PlayStation 4. Include additional game content, in-game cinematic commentary from the cast. In-game cinematic commentary. I never saw that. Wow, this is insane. This is insane. I never had that. That is so cool. Creating devastating physical and emotional abuse. A consequence of the vengeance and you embark on the relentless pursuit of those who wronged her. A complex and emotional story, tense and desperate action survival gameplay, a beautiful yet dangerous world. So it was always more about that. Now, Last of Us was always a game, a beloved game, but then it became a beloved series, and that's what we're going to be checking out. The meal of the day is fried rice. So this is rice we cooked a couple of days ago, and we reheated it in the pan. I'm going to show you. There you go. So why are we doing this video? Again, feeling depressed, feeling bad, but trying to work it out. So working out for me means working, making videos. Last of Us is a series that I love, but never really got into. Water and sweeter. Whew. That's strong fuck. That's some strong shit. Water and sweetener. There you go. Before we start, oh, we have sausage too. Sausage are delicious sausage. They're two flavor. They are Oktoberfest and they are bacon and cheese. Why are we eating doing that? Because, again, trying to multitask first of all. Second of all, I think that oh. I just had an idea. It's a good idea. I'm not gonna tell you guys, but it's a good idea. You see, we're a bit motivated today. My favorite part, this is the overcooked skin of the rice. A sweet nectar of gods. This is so good. This is so good. Oh, I have no idea. I have to restrain myself, otherwise I'm going to be eating all the sausage. You know what? Fuck that. What I'm going to do. Grease. I'm feeling wonderful for my health. And dessert. But it also contains some hemp oil, which helps you calm down. No stress. Okay. So, Last of Us. So I don't know which one you want to start with. You want to start with how I get introduced to singing, or why am I doing this video? So let's go into the why we're doing this video. Last of Us, for me, has always been a very emotional game. With my ADHD, I don't really pay attention to the story. So, how I work is, this is great, this is great, this is great. Okay, let's do something else. Let's move along. This is great, this is great, this is great. Okay, this is good, this is moving on. So a game like Last of Us is a game that's great, that's great, that's great, but when we're moving on, we aren't really playing Last of Us. When we're finished, we're finished. And the beauty of Last of Us, the best quality of Last of Us is also its biggest flaw. The game is intense, the game is a narrative powerhouse, however the game is super short. I watched a game like Elden Ring. That's my first playthrough of Elden Ring. I bought it for a year. Last of Us, we thought about it for a couple of months. It was still pretty good. So, what ended up happening, and this is how good, this is how crazy, this is how insane it is for me. Last of Us 1 was a game that I'd never heard of. So, long story short, I went to this apartment. I don't want to work. I want to take my time. I want to discover myself. I want to have fun. We don't work. So when every streamer is streaming Last of Us, we're sitting at home watching cable TV, right? So Last of Us came in a very, very specific case. We start working, right? And we start working, and we're working in a place called A&W. Now, A&W is far from my house, right? I have to take 2 buses. Well, after the first bus, we have the terminus. And I always have to wait 20 minutes. There's a Walmart there. And I find this game on PS3, because I used to own it on PS3. It was Game of the Year on PS3. And it was for $25. So I'm like, okay, well, this is cheaper than I'm used to. The Game of the Year, so it must be good. Let's try it out, right? I open it, and I swear to God, Last of Us for me is a game, and I know you're gonna be tired of me saying this, but it's a game that completely changed my life. And I don't mean this as kissing ass. I don't mean this as anything else but the truth. I had a very secure, very enclosed, very secluded childhood. First of all, I was a weird kid with ADHD, right? I was a weird kid with ADHD. Didn't have a lot of friends, so of course that didn't help, right? But more than that, because there's always more than that. More than that, I was the kid, right, who enjoys time alone. So my time alone, I would spend watching the classic Saturday comics, a Saturday cartoon. Talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, talk about Gundam, which we're playing right now on this phone. A beautiful game, G Eternal, which is fantastic. Dragon Ball Z, and there was another one. I think it was Bleach, but I'm not sure. I want to see Bleach, because I'm pretty sure it was Bleach. There was also One Piece, but One Piece, they kept showing in the first seasons outside of it. Now, just to tell you how crazy I was and how much of a weird kid I was, this channel that would show these were in English. My first language is French, and I didn't learn English before 16, 17 years old. So I would watch months of shows without understanding a lick of it. However, as long as you have fun, who gives a shit, right? So, fast forward into my teenage years, I'm doing the same thing. I'm watching shows. But this time I speak English, right? So I'm watching shows. So until the age of 22, I was so busy with watching shows that I didn't understand. I was until the age of 22, I was so busy with watching shows that I didn't understand, watching shows that I now understood. But most of all, we had shows from YouTube. So back then, YouTube was very lax when it comes to copyright law. You can find movie, you can find the entire Jersey Shore series, which was crazy. There's a lot of things that you could find for free on YouTube. So I would go to the store, which is Walmart, Walmart, I would go during the night when it was closed. I would stay in the parking lot in the summer and download hours upon hours upon hours. I have at least a gig and a terabyte and a half of shows. I would watch them, right? But all of them did include one simple thing. They didn't include horror. They didn't include horror. There's two things that really, really changed my perception about horrors. The first one was Chucky. Curse of Chucky. Curse of Chucky was a show that I fell in love with. It was scary. It was scary and goofy. The second one was Last of Us. Now, Last of Us was completely different. Why was it completely different? It was because it was a game. And the craziest thing about Last of Us is we bought it. It's crazy because I think it was Easter. I don't remember which holiday, but it was a 3 days weekend, right? And I know that people would be there. And at that time, I'm depressed. I'm 21, 22 years old. I'm very depressed. I'm like, I don't want to go out when there's a lot of people. So I would go at Walmart at like 8 or 9 in the morning. As soon as it opened, I knew there was no customer. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm stuck with this game for 3 days. So I'm playing the game and I'm scared of the infected, right? But then the game itself is so good, and there's something that keeps me going to the game. And I'm trying to say, but it's not the narrative. It's not the narrative. What keeps me going to the game is the mechanics of the game. How ammunition is so scarce. This is my very first survival game. It's my very first horror game, but it's my very first survival game. So you have to go into every single thing to find pieces. And for example, what I love about this game is you would find a Scotch tape, right? And a Scotch tape could be used to heal yourself or to deal extreme damage with a shiv. And that's what you have to choose what to do with it, right? Now, I always played normal, so I never missed out some resources. But the first time playing the game, and that's a true story. I didn't care about the story because it was so involved. I was so involved in the survival aspect of it, right? And then I had this feeling of accomplishment. And this is the first time in a video game that I had this feeling of accomplishment. We had it with beating Melania, we had it with beating Hollow Knight, but that's what there was the very, very first case, right? So what ended up happening is I'm playing this. It was 2013 and 14. I'm playing this again. I'm rebuying the game for the PS4 because again I had it for PS3, then I had it for PS4. I rebuy it, and this time I'm like, you know what? And it's crazy because I lose my job, right? And I feel really down on myself. So I'm like, you know what? And this is one of the first games I'm going to be playing the 19th or in about 5 days, 6 days. Because right now we're going to stream. We're banned for streaming because we have too much content. So because I have over 100 hours of streaming, I cannot stream. 100 hours of saved content on Twitch, I cannot stream, right? That's pretty much it. So then what ended up happening was, I feel bad on myself. And I find out that I have The Last of Us. And it's funny because The Last of Us, just to show you how much I care about that game, I bought it for PS4. This was one of the first games that I bought for PS4. And I left it unopened. It took me a year and a half. And then the challenge, and I saw The Last of Us, and I was like, okay, let's play it. This time, however, we're very, very, very different. The first time you play Last of Us, and this is my personal opinion, you can disagree, I do not give a shit, okay? I forgot to do the why we're doing this video, but it's okay, we'll do it after. So the first time you play the game, you have this whole playthrough where you're moving on and you're moving on and you're moving on and you're moving on, and you expect that every single turn, at every single corner, you're gonna be infected, right? Now, if you're dumb like me, you didn't realize that there's infected, there's cordyceps, which is what makes them infected, right? So if there's cordyceps, Joel will wear his mask. So if he doesn't wear the mask, there's no danger, or there's gonna be human danger, right? But the human danger, they're noisy, they don't make noise, you're shooting and etc., right? So the second time playing, I'm focused on the story, and I discovered a story that is phenomenal, right? Now, fun fact, when they did God of War PS4, the story of Kratos and Atreus, the reason why they did Atreus was because of Ellie. People really enjoyed the relationship between Ellie and Joel. Now, I'll be completely honest, I actually really like it. But my duo were very, very weird. So growing up, my duo were Jack and Daxter. Growing up, my duo were Rushing Clank. Growing up, my duo was whom? My trio was freaking Sly Cooper, right? So very, I never had like this father figure and daughter figure. Now, ultimately speaking, as a father, I associate with more with Kratos because he has this rage and it's, I don't know this kid, right? With Ellie, there's always this instance of Joel isn't really the father, and Joel takes a long ass time before he becomes fatherly towards Ellie, right? Now, if you watch the show with Pedro Pascal does a good job at being fatherly way before Joel actually is in the game. Joel actually becomes fatherly in the game when really late, really, really late. So he becomes close to Ellie, and this is spoiler if you didn't play the game, but the game is 11 years old minimum. So there's a time where he's gonna bring her to a place where it's safer. They're gonna bring her to the dam. That way they can go to the Fireflies. I'm gonna tell you the story of the first game in a couple minutes. But for now, I'm gonna tell you the story about the first game. Then we'll do the second game, right? You know what we're gonna do? The first game, we're gonna do why we're doing this video. We're gonna do the second game and why I think it's a masterpiece. Great. It's gonna be a cool video. It's gonna be fun video. It's gonna be a short video for the amount of content that we have to do, but still. So what ended up happening is Joel has a chance to leave Ellie. So the story is Ellie is okay. So they're being told to. It's actually really cool. The first time that Joel. Okay, so it's complicated. The beginning of the game is Joel with his daughter Sarah, and they're really close, right? You can tell, and they do a fantastic job of Sarah is gonna be in the game. Spoiler for 40 minutes. The game is 13 hours, so you don't give a fuck about Sarah. However, what she represents, you give a fuck about her. So what happened is Sarah dies, and then Joel becomes an asshole. Joel becomes really, really, really bad. He starts ambushing people. He starts to do everything that he needs to do to survive. He gets into a fight with his brother. He doesn't join the Fireflies. Again, he becomes like a bad guy. He doesn't become like a bad guy. He becomes like a guy for. He becomes like a guy that is a survivalist. And my boy Joel is living a good life. In about 13 years after the beginning of the pandemic, my boy still have alcohol. He's drinking. He had a side piece, right? And then that's his mission. And he pays really, really well. Basically what happened is they got fucked over in the mission. And the other fucked over with their weapon. So Joel and I don't remember her name. It's probably Monica. Maybe you have a pistol. Mm-hmm. So you meet the Fireflies, and the Fireflies are telling her, hey, if you help us, we'll give you a weapon. Okay, no problem. They think we have a package for you. Then they realize the package is Ellie, right? And they don't know why she's so important. But the way she's talking, she was a friend of the person. I don't remember the girl from. I don't even remember the girl from the Fireflies. But she's important. She's one of the vice presidents or one of the main guy. So at first you think that they're close, and that Joel is taking her to a certain place, to Fireflies HQ. What is important? Who is the Fireflies? The Fireflies. Okay. So again, this is when I tell you the Fireflies is. Okay. Military group. They're a military group. I thought it was so complicated, so complex, so rich, and unbelievable. So the Fireflies comes in, right? And they're like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do here? What are we supposed to do here? I don't know. Then we realize that Ellie is bitten, right? And that's, she's immune. Now, the fun fact is, Joel doesn't believe it. Joel doesn't believe it. It's part of the crime, but it's it, right? But then we realize that Ellie, she's so similar to Joel, and Joel deep down he knows that it's so complicated, it's so complex. There's two things. Joel is afraid of Ellie because she reminds him of Sarah, or Joel is afraid of Ellie because she reminds him of Sarah, in a way where he would become the soft guy he was, and the soft guy he was wouldn't survive in this world, right? So he's afraid of being the good dad that he was. He has to be this villain to survive, right? Because it's survival of the fittest, okay? But then as much as they go, they get closer, right? And then Joel has his brother called Tommy, and Tommy is a really good character. Tommy ends up, he say, yo, can you take care of her? And at the end, she said, I don't want to go with him. And Joel's like, yeah, I'll take you, right? And that's the whole story. Now, the story ends with Joel brings Ellie to the Firefly HQ, and we realize that Ellie, to save the world, she has to die. So the cordyceps, which is the infected, what creates the infected. So technically speaking, we don't really know how it happened. The cordyceps is actually a real thing, though. It's a fungus that attacks animals and controls their brain, right? We don't know how it works. We don't really know a lot about it, but it's something that's real, right? And there's actually a fun thing. The story will not tell you what is a cordyceps. The story will not tell you. However, you can find some newspaper, you can find some recording. It'll actually tell you a bit more about the pandemic, right? Now, the fun thing is, in the second game, the infection isn't something that we care about anymore. Right? In the first game, the whole purpose of the first game is we might have the antidote. The whole purpose of the second game is we don't care if we have the antidote. It's all about the vengeance. So in the first game, it ends with Joel doing the one thing that we will all do. He has to sacrifice Ellie. And if he does sacrifice Ellie, then he can save the world. This is basically the story, right? However, because there is an however, we know that the right thing to do is to kill Ellie off, right? So, coming back to it, why the first game is amazing. So this is the story of the first game. Come back to the story. Come back to the game in the first one. What's fantastic is, again, these spare resources, so you'll find very small amount of bullets. Your best bet is actually arrows, because arrows, there's a chance that if you kill an enemy, the arrows will... It is so freaking good. It is so freaking good. The arrow, you'll be able to get them back. So for example, I use a pistol, I shoot a bullets, the bullets kill, right? But you lose that bullets. There's a chance with the arrow, right? The arrow, and the craziest thing, and this is gonna be, again, this is a long video, so please bear with me. The craziest thing is the bow becomes the best weapon. And the craziest thing with the arrow is you might not kill it, but you won't make a sound, so you'll only aggro one enemy. If you shoot, everybody's like, okay, well, there's a shot nearby, there's somebody here. There's an arrow, nobody hears you, right? Now, it brings me to my second game of survival, which is Days Gone. In Days Gone, the strongest weapon is the bow arrow, the crossbow. The crossbow. And the crossbow is the same thing, you can shoot bolts and get them back. So again, it's super cool. So coming back to the first game, you can find, of course, there's a classical. You can do a shiv, which is a one-time automatic kill. So you can do it by stealth. This shiv is actually super good at a defensive and offensive. So if you're stealth, you can kill in one shot. If you're not stealth and somebody attack you and they got you in a hole, they could kill you. If you use a shiv, you'll kill them instead, right? So you save yourself. There's bandages where you can heal up, right? There's Molotov cocktail Molotov, and then there's a landmine. So the landmine is actually pretty good. There's a sleep powder that you can use. That's all really, really, really good. The sleep powder, however, is not that great because some enemy will resist to it. But the nail bomb, super good. It's the strongest bomb. The Molotov is great. There's a lot of people close by. The nail is great, or you can even put trap mine, which is fantastic. So, but in the game, that's not the most important part. The most important part are vitamins. You can actually find vitamins. And the vitamins will increase your health or your strength. First of all. Second of all, you can also find parts where you can upgrade your weapon. What is really cool is you start off, for example, I'm going to be using the shotgun as an example. The shotgun is a long weapon, long barrel. You can take a saw and cut it open. And then you'll have a shorter shotgun that make more damage. This is a really good upgrade. So the first game, once again, is making the most out of it. Now, the best part of the second game, of the first game, is Joel is always the one that takes care of Ellie, right? And at first, this is classical. You're gonna see what I meant with the similarity between this and God of War. At first, Ellie is completely useless. She hides, right? Then I want to fight. Then Joel's like, no. And then she needs to fight. And then there's a part where Joel getting drowned from another guy. I haven't played this game in 4 years. This one the first game I started shooting with. And then Ellie kills him with a gun, right? And she's like, okay, well, I'm getting the gun. And Joel's like, okay, well, you say me keep the gun. And then Ellie starts to know how to use the gun, and the more she goes, the better she is. Now, also, later in the game, Ellie will use the sniper rifle, which is what she's the strongest with. She actually is a really good, really good, she's a really good, support. However, Ellie is, she's smart, she is smart, but also she's kind of dumb. So, for example, by using the sniper, she'll get a shot in, and she won't use it if it's an enemy where you're sneaking in. However, she'll use it, and then possibly you were able to not aggro everybody. She'll aggro everybody, right? There's also the fact that Ellie, if she gets killed, you have to restart the game, and Ellie is a lot easier to kill than Joel. So this is also something you have to keep in mind. Second of all, but that's pretty much it for the first game. If I think about it, that's for the first game. Now, years pass. I played the second one during the pandemic, during the COVID pandemic. I played the second one, and it was crazy because I don't remember when it came out. And it came out on it came out when 2020, which is the pandemic year. In the second game, my first playthrough, I hated it. I hated it. But when I say hate it, I hate it. Last of Us 2 was such a emotional roller coaster. It is so freaking hard on the mental, on your emotional. It's horrible. It's bad, dude. It's bad. But at the same time, it's also so rewarding because it's a beautiful story, right? And before we start with the second one, I'm gonna tell you guys why. When I grew up, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have the most vocal. I was afraid of my opinion. I was afraid to give my opinion. I was afraid of rejection. I was afraid of being told you're wrong, right? So we kept it in. However, there's this really cool thing that happened, and it was the fact that the second game, everybody hated Abby. So Abby is the main antagonist, right? Everybody hated Abby. Everybody hated. The voice actress for Abby got death threat, right? It was really bad. But I liked Abby. So the second game is Abby kills Joel, right? And in the first game does a really good job at Joel and Ellie. In a world where you care about nothing, in a world that there's nothing left, you know that Joel and Ellie's are the thing that you have to focus on. Focus on their survival, but also focus on their relationship, right? Joel ends up being a great father to Ellie, and Ellie ends up being a great partner to Joel, somebody that brings them back to humanity. Yeah, the craziest thing, I forgot completely. I'm so sorry. The main goal of the first game is to bring back to Joel is humanity. Joel is the main character. Ellie is the second character. However, Joel is the main character because you play as Joel. However, Ellie is the main character because she's the immune. She's the answer to everything, right? There's this part where Joel gets really injured, and Ellie is one that takes care of him. She's able to nurse him back to health. She's able to nurse him back, and by getting that, she's getting kidnapped. And then Joel goes on a path of revenge. If you see Joel on the path of revenge, you see him how bad he is, like how much of a dangerous guy he was, and how much of a really bad person he became, right? And you see the instance of a Joel, and it's crazy because when you see Joel at his worst, being the most aggressive, being the worst guy possible, you don't see a new Joel. You see the Joel that was before the game starts, the Joel that did everything that he could to survive, right? That ambushed people. That Joel existed before. Second game, Joel is a lot older. He has like a father. Ellie got convinced him to be in a commune, which is a dam with his brother, with Tommy, right? And then they live a happy life, right? They're doing what you would call it. They're doing some recons and shit like that. Now, when you're in a place like that, there's a huge problem. The huge problem in the second game is they live in a city, and there's a lot of Walker. The Walker, which is from Walking Dead, but most of all, there's infected, right? And they're more prone to go to a place to defend. So, for example, right, you go from door to door, you go from house to house, from hiding to hiding. This hiding is infected. There's a lot of infected. Just leave it. You don't need to kill them all. Versus a town where there's a lot of people here that cannot defend themselves. Let's help them out, right? The second game is a lot better. So, for example, Ellie now has a girlfriend called Dina. Ellie has a best friend called Jess. That's actually really cool, right? And she had a life there, and she's going through her teenage year, and she's evolving, and they're really close. However, Ellie gets mad at Joel because she learned what he did to save her. We learned that he killed basically every single Fireflies. He killed the people that were trying to save the world. So the Fireflies in his first game, they're a good guy. They're a good guy. Oh my god, I forgot to tell you about the Fireflies. Okay, I'm so sorry. So in the first game, right, by doing everything, you get to learn about the story, right? You get to learn after the pandemic. So the craziest thing is, it's a case of I Am Legend. It's the same thing. So Joel, the first time you control Joel is the night of the pandemic. It breaks out. A lot of people are affected and it's out of control. It's out of control. At first it was infected, it was under control, now it's out of control. Then we wake up 13 years later and like, okay, well, what happened? So you learn that, okay, well, technically, this is why there's a pandemic, and why they're infected. We're in a group called the Fireflies. The Fireflies are Urhu. So the government, at first, they wasn't food for everybody. So what they ended up doing is, they did some inhumane thing, right? And then people like Joel, you gotta put his music again. I have to go out. I have to go in.